time for the NIL House, starring Vaka and John Brenkus. And now, here's Rob and John.
Wow! This band is amazing. Keep them going. Keep them going. Keep playing. They're amazing. Wow.
Boom! We have explosive news this week, John. We got some explosive guests.
Yes.
We got some crazy deals.
Yes.
And we're gonna have fun.
We're gonna have a blast, like we always do. Before we address that, our band is better than everybody else's band.
Our band is better than your band.
That's right. So what do we have with headlines? Put up the big graphic. The NIL House. Boom! Graphics.
What we're talking about today is what everybody wants to hear about, money. Mo money.
Mo money.
We're gonna talk about high school NIL.
Okay.
And then we're also gonna talk about collectives.
Yeah.
Which are also hot.
Okay.
Okay,
So wait, before we get there, this show is the epicenter of everything NIL. What's our first story?
Our first story is money.
What about money?
All right, let's talk about it.
Okay, let's
We're
go.
about a year into NIL.
Okay.
Last July was sort of the birth of NIL. A year later, in October, athletes are making per transaction about 167% more than they were a year ago. Now, that's not a big surprise, but the number per transaction, according to Influencer, is over $3,000, where this time last year it was just over $1,000.
Where'd you get that stat?
That's from Pete Nakos. Pete
Go
does a great job.
Screen. Herbert, put this up. Look at that. So what
That's
does it
interesting.
say? Read it to us.
Athletes are earning an average of $3,162 this fall compared to $1,132 a year ago, according to Influencer. They have a large database of transactions and deals, and so they're kind of the hub for info on this.
That's right. It's no surprise, obviously. NIL was brand new last year. People barely even knew it.
Yep.
Now that they do, everyone's jumping on the train, and I feel like that percentage this time next year will be 5x.
It probably will, and there's probably 3 or 4 reasons for it, right?
Right.
You have gone through the early adopters now. The early adopters who came out last year are long gone. The mainstream big brands are getting into it. Collectives are fueling this.
Right.
As there have been more collectives coming on board, as collectives are raising more money, as they're growing subscriptions, as they're growing their alumni base, they're feeding these deals. And let's face it, there's better infrastructure in the NIL space for these deals to happen.
Right. And by infrastructure, what do you do?
Yeah, from an infrastructure standpoint, there's platforms, right? Whether those are Influencer or Open Doors or Icon Source or Mogul or others, there are platforms that are facilitating deals. And when you have those platforms and you have collectives and you have brands now that are past the early adopter phase, you got a pretty good equation.
Schooled the audience on how the NIL space is currently evolving. The question is, who's going to win? Does everybody win, or does one approach win?
Yeah, I think the growth pattern now, to me, is how do you expose athletes to fan bases? How do you create compelling content that keeps people coming back? How do you engage fans so they want to pay a subscription to get behind a paywall? Because at some point, the live appearances can't keep going because you have alumni. Let's say you're an Alabama alum and you live in Atlanta. You're not going to a meet and greet at a local Tuscaloosa restaurant on a Tuesday night.
You're not.
Right? You're not doing it. So
You're not doing it.
You've got to expand your footprint digitally.
All right. What's our next headline?
Next up, Pennsylvania looks like they're going to become the 20th state, John. 20th.
What?
For high schools that are coming alive.
What?
20 states. High school.
Wait, so Pennsylvania, home of 80% of the best quarterbacks of all time. Like there's something in the water in Pennsylvania. They're the 20th state. Let's say they're, just above half, right? Before half the states legalize it. So you're going to have a gazillion quarterback deals because we all know the famous quarterbacks who have come out of there. What though has been the initial reaction?
Well, it feels like there's a snowball, and that snowball is just coming down the hill. So what do? We talked about this on the first episode. If you're Georgia, Texas, Florida, what do you do? Are you getting on that snowball and you rolling, or are you up the hill and it's past you?
What if you're Rhode Island?
Oh,
that's my point. That's my point. There are going to be states that all of a sudden are going to wake up one day and they won't have a football team because nobody's going there. They're all going to Pennsylvania or somewhere else where they're going to earn money, and they're going to be saying, what happened? So the remaining 30 states that have not jumped on board, they need to do it ASAP and then figure it all out later, because otherwise they're going to be left behind.
That's 100% true. And listen, props to Rhode Island. I lived there for 8 years. It's a beautiful state, one of the greatest places to be in the summer of all time. But to your point, if you're a football player in a small state, you're going to go to a state where a 4 or 5 star is welcome and getting paid to do that. We're seeing those deals happen. We're seeing kids go to California to play right now.
What's the biggest state that hasn't gotten on board yet that needs to?
Texas.
They still haven't signed up?
Nope.
Over under on when Texas flips.
This offseason.
You think January?
By Q1.
Q1. All right, everybody write that down. Megan, write that down. We're going to have a running tab of bets that Rob and I have going over under. All right, next story.
All right, next up. There are now around 200 or so collectives, according to Michael Murakami. Michael's with Open Doors. And Michael says there's around 200 collectives now in about 40 states, representing about 25 different conferences and impacting almost 70,000 athletes. So we know some of these collectives. We've spoken with a bunch. We had the Foundation on here earlier. We know the Rising Spear guys at Florida State. We know the guys at West Virginia Country Roads Trust. We know the guys at Penn State Success with Honor. We know a bunch of these collectives, and the reality is they're doing an awful lot of good, and they're helping expose their athletes. They're helping bring brands to the table and bring NIL deals to life. And we're going to see some guests today on this show who are really using NIL for good.
Right.
For impact.
And that's what's interesting is a lot of people are worried that this money is going to corrupt the sport. I imagine there will be some kind of corruption, but it's not like it was corruption-free previously. So although it may taint the waters, also there's going to be a lot of good, and it's going to sort itself out. We are in that process. We're sorting it out. Everyone's figuring out, like, what are the limits? What is the business model that works? And it's an exciting time. It's especially exciting to be the epicenter of everything NIL, because the NIL house, we have the best guests, we have the best news, we have the best show, and it feels good to be sitting in this place right now.
We got a pretty good set, too, I have to admit.
I do.
I mean, look at this set.
Yeah.
This is pretty good living.
It is pretty good living. Did we get our Reese's deal yet?
You know, we should have onions and we should have peanut butter cups falling all over us.
Cut to a clip from last week's show of why Reese's and onions are so important.
Right down the road in Athens,
Right.
where the national champion Bulldogs reside, their quarterback Stetson Bennett just did a deal with Schumann Farms. And guess what Schumann Farms produces?
I'm just
Take
guessing.
a guess.
Wait. Top of my head, sweet onion
Sweet
rings.
onion. Reese's just did what they call the tastiest deal in NIL history. Reese's just identified 12 players, and guess what they identified the 12 players based on?
Size.
Their last name.
You see it?
Yes.
You see it? I'm telling you. Where are they?
A handful of onions never hurt anybody.
No truer words have ever been said. A handful of onions have never hurt anyone.
Every time I ate onions this week,
Yeah, you thought about.
and I had, this isn't a plug, I had some Jersey Mike's sandwiches this week. Every time.
You just gave Jersey Mike's free airtime.
I did give Jersey Mike's free airtime. Well, look, I'm from New Jersey, so good for Jersey Mike's. But every time I had my sandwich, I thought of the onion deal.
Wow. Well, that was the point. That's why they did it. All right, here we go. We are going to bring on our first guest. Now, just because the show is called The NIL House, and you have to kind of lean in. Eventually, I'm going to lose the lean, but I'll be saying the, and it might blow me back a little bit. But for now, it is The NIL House. Just because it's The NIL House doesn't mean it's only about collegiate athletes. We're going to have Hall of Famers. We're going to have alumni. We're going to have great business moguls. It's not only about name, image, likeness as it pertains to sort of collegiate athletics, but The NIL House has an open door to celebrity guests, to friends, to just people in the general.
I'm on by.
Just come on by. All you have to do is shoot us a text, and you never know who's going to stop by The NIL House. And I think, the doorbell just rang.
I did hear.
Surprise guest.
We do.
A surprise guest. Oh, Rob. It's The NIL House. And you know the best thing about being in Atlanta?
Tell me, John.
Never know who's going to be dropping by.
You don't, because in Atlanta, almost anybody interesting could come by.
And look who it is right now.
It looks like number 97.
My favorite guys. John.
How are you?
It's actually not number
amazing.
97. It's number 97's mom, Elisha Jarrett.
One and only.
Jarrett, how are you?
I am amazing.
Give me hugs and kisses.
Hugs. All right, listen, have a seat at the bar.
Woo, I love this. I love this.
You have not one but two bartenders here to serve you.
Oh, I love it.
We're
I love
serving
it.
at your pleasure.
That's right. We're going to serve you at your pleasure. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pour you a non-branded, because nobody gets free branding here.
Non-branded.
Here we go.
Soft drink.
Here we
That
go.
sounds
I'm
good.
gonna
That
give
sounds
her-
good.
Here, look at. Watch this. I'm going to give her. Here we go.
Ooh,
look at this.
look at
Come on, I'm
Look
working
at that. That's
it.
impressive.
I'm working it. That's
impressive.
This is a very powerful drink.
Oh, I love it. Love it. Thank
There you
you.
go.
Thank you. Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers. Now listen, here's first question I got. Have you, this past crazy week, have you ever heard your name uttered more times internationally? I mean, you are international news. Grady Jarrett, you could not go anywhere in the world. Everyone in the tiniest corner, no matter where it was, they're like, that wasn't passive. That wasn't roughing the passer.
Yeah.
There's
It
just no way.
that-
It is
is-
International Grady Jarrett Week. That's what it is.
It is, officially.
That is funny. That is funny. And that's so true. I'm in the grocery store the other day, and somebody said, that call was bogus. Just saying. I have no idea who the guy was. No idea. I didn't even know he knew who I was. I wasn't in any gear. It was just me. And he's like, hey, by the way, that call was bogus. Just saying. Would you?
People who don't even know football now question, what is a sack?
What is going on?
Yeah.
It is hilarious. I know that you were telling us a story that I just absolutely could not believe. Tell everyone, because we had the benefit of hearing a little bit of the story. I don't think we heard all of it.
Yeah.
So the total bogus call happens, game wraps up. What do you normally do?
So normally meet my son after every game, regardless of what stadium we're in. We meet him after every game. And of course, he was still beside himself after the end of the game. And so he came over to the sideline. We talked for a bit, and we decided that we were going to go on and head to the airport. So I literally waited until he got off of the field before I decided to leave the stadium. I wanted him off the field. And anybody that knows Grady knows that he does not get beside himself like that. He just doesn't. That's not his temperament. That's not his attitude. He's just a chill guy. And so for him to have that reaction, I knew as mama, and then I had to definitely put on my Mama Bear's hat, that I needed to watch him off the field. And so we went on and watched him off the field, and then we decided to leave, go straight to the airport, get our flight.
So you go to the airport in Tampa. You get on your flight in Tampa. Go sit down in your seat.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us what happens from the point you sit down in your seat, because it's very similar to winning the lottery.
So, absolutely. I mean, you want to talk about, what is it?
Chance,
What?
serendipity.
Whatever you want to call it, it happened. So, you know, I am, if this ref could see me in the stands, he probably would have had some burn marks on him. That's how hard I was looking at him after he made that call. And so we get on the plane, and I have my grandbaby with me, and my son's girlfriend. And so I'm sitting in the window. She's in the aisle. And lo and behold, I look over, and who's there?
Who's sitting next to you?
The ref that threw the flag on my
The
side.
referee
The
that
ref
threw
is no way.
lifting the passer flag is
There's
sitting
no
next
way.
to you on the plane.
Is sitting next to us on the plane.
Hold on a second.
Sitting-
International
Sit-
news is made.
sit-
The one person you do not want sitting next to you. One.
Sitting right, I mean, I'm on the aisle. Son's girlfriend is right here. He's right across. And of course, I felt like I needed to switch. I didn't know who was worse, who was going to be worse, me or her. I didn't, for a minute, I felt like I needed to put her by the window. And but I think we were what and what. So yeah, and then another famous reporter was sitting right in front of me, and so we kind of conversed back and forth, and of course her phone was going off, my phone was going off, his phone was going off, and so but really, I was okay because outside of me knowing football, and I am definitely a mom and a woman that knows football, right? I knew that it was a bogus call. I was already a little not right with the game because I've always respected Tom Brady, always respected him. I think he's a world-class person, the GOAT of his position for a reason. My brother Ray played against him. I watched him for a long time. Jarrett's dad, I think at one time had an opportunity to play against him. But I've always respected Tom. What I didn't I lost respect for him that day because not only he had nothing to do with the call. I'll take that back. I'll reframe that. He petitioned for the call. He did. He petitioned for the call. But again, he said it best. He don't throw the flag, right? But something earlier in the game happened where when Jarrett would get to him, Grady, I call my son Jarrett. Tom, to me, went out of character. He's kicking Grady and just like doing all of this stuff that we just don't do. Right. Jarrett Grady is not a dirty player. Right. He is not a dirty player. He's a world class guy. He's a 4-time philanthropist of the year. I mean, he's a great guy, right? He loves football, right? And so the rules changed, and he crafted. He worked and worked and worked and crafted the way that he would tackle someone to ensure that he was doing the right thing. He did the right thing on that day when he tackled Tom Brady.
Totally.
Not only that, I don't know if Tom was having Super Bowl drawbacks and he remembered Jarrett tackling him, those 3+ times in the Super Bowl. I don't know, but
maybe he was going through some personal issues that may have been getting in his head. He was taking it out.
We all go through personal issues, John.
Amen. That is for sure.
And the way that I was feeling that day with my personal issue, I would have been on the field. So have control.
Have control.
So there's a lot to unpack here. There's a lot to unpack. And I think I can't deal with more than 3 things at one time. So let's unpack the 3. Number 1, above all, is the referee that threw the flag is sitting across from you on the flight home. I mean, let's unpack that.
Let's unpack that because let's just think about how the universe is working here.
Yeah.
If the ref sat next to Grady Jarrett, I mean, Grady is, you would say well, he's not gonna, I get it. I imagine it's a ref, it's a football player. They're flying back to, okay, I guess that could happen. But his mother, you do not want to be next to his mother.
And listen, I can't say that I didn't think about what I would do to that ref prior to getting on that plane. I I was very disturbed.
Right.
And I felt, what type of person does that? I did. I felt like there was definitely some intention behind it, right? Because first of all, the long delay in throwing the flag after conversing with Tom. And a person that, you're in black and white, we want to think that you're going to do the right thing regardless of whatever. Listen, I'd watched my son be held all day, be kicked, twice. And to be honest with you, when I saw the flag come out, I thought Tom was bargaining, please don't throw the flag on me. It was an accident, didn't mean to kick him.
Right.
And what?
Let it go, Mom.
What?
Let it go.
You what? And of course, both of us can't be that high-strung at the same time. And Grady was not happy. And so I did have to draw mine back in. And that's what I did on the plane as well.
So on the plane, I imagine there were probably TVs that everyone's watching. And what are the images that are actually on the television?
It happens to be my son, Grady Jarrett, and this ref who's sitting right across from me who threw that flag going on. But you know what? Call it whatever you want to call it. It was a very liberating moment for me, John, because they were giving that ref the blues. I didn't have to say a word. And so I kindly, every night, he would look and I would look and I kindly would,
So he knew who you were.
Oh, without a shadow.
Well, she had the jersey on.
Right.
And I actually did. I think I had probably this jersey or a pink. Yes. So he knew exactly who I was. But not only that, everybody that, was on the plane was Momma Jarrett. There was no doubt.
This
who
was
I
literally,
This is amazing.
this was God's call.
Yeah.
So God made a call. And
Poetic.
the call God made is, you know what he said? I'm
Poetic.
throwing a flag, and dude, you're sitting next to his
sitting
mom.
right next to his
That's
mom.
the penalty. Your penalty
You're
is you're gonna sit
right
next to his mom the whole flight home.
Poetic.
And you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna play highlights
Poetic.
of your bad call in front of you and her.
Poetic. And I, as I get ready to not really look at him, but glance over to my son's girlfriend, I look at him, and of course he's looking over and does this, immediately, but so.
Did you get to say anything to him, or did you not? Did you refrain?
So while we're getting off the flight, he says, "Have a great evening," and I said, "You do the same, sir."
You took the high road, of course.
I did.
Of course.
I did.
That's just
I did.
That's unbelievable. I can honestly say, not sure I would have done the same.
You know what? But I'll tell you, John, I didn't have to. I had really no other road to take but the high road, because when I tell you that not only was he getting slammed while we were on the plane, with the chatters around, and then what comes on the TV, and we are both looking at the same thing on the screen, right?
Can't imagine it.
And he hears, the chatter, I didn't have to say a word.
You know when people say you can feel someone staring at you?
But can I tell you this? But can I tell you this? While I'm on the plane, someone tells me, no, that's not what happened. Yeah, while I was on the plane, somebody said that he's from Atlanta, but let me tell you what gets better. So
Can it get better?
As we're leaving, as we're departing the plane, this reporter says, he says to this reporter, well, how far do you have to go? And she says, 15 minutes. What about you? He says, I'm 40 or 45 minutes. And she's like, where? He says, Conyers. I about lost it. Conyers, Rockdale, where my son is raised, all of his life. This guy is from Conyers, Rockdale.
You can't make this up.
Can't make it up.
Can't make this up.
Now, the only thing we're missing here.
Now, I actually did. When I heard that, I almost did say something.
Oh, no.
I did.
You almost said you are not welcome in Conyers.
Well, then I started to do the tweet out to the whoever, go roll up, go paper, what is it? Paper towel, toilet paper.
So listen, it is official. Since everybody in the world is gonna see this interview, nobody go toilet paper his house because they're gonna blame us. So I don't want that. Now, here's what's interesting. I
don't think he needs any more.
I have heard a ton of people say, people have asked me, from a sports science perspective, what should Grady have done? Now, let's just think about it. You can hit high, you can hit lower, you can hit in the middle.
It was
Now,
textbook, John.
if he hit high on Tom Brady, then he's doing a Tua, just going back
Yes,
and
for
bam,
sure.
head
For
goes
sure.
on the turf.
For sure.
Didn't do that.
For sure.
If he goes low, we're gonna get a Joe Theismann, and his legs are gonna just crack because he was hauling. So he hits him in exactly where you're supposed to.
Absolutely.
And
Textbook.
acts like an airbag because he's going down with him.
Very consciously and intentionally. And too bad that these defensive players have to think. When you're in that type of motion,
Yeah.
it takes a special person to be able to
Yeah.
control those emotions, to be able to control your 300-pound body
Yes.
so that you don't really slam somebody. It takes a
From a
special person to be
sports
able
science
to pull
standpoint,
that.
what kind of, it's a tenth of a second, a two-tenths of a second?
This is what's interesting is that when two objects collide, it generates X amount of force, right? F equals ma. What Grady did was increase the amount of time that the force is being dispersed. So that's why it's like an airbag. It took a long time
For him to come down?
For him to come down. It's kind of like, it's almost like, it's like the Harrison play in the Super Bowl where he, with the David Tyree catch, where he was like cradling him down to the ground so that it was all right, right? I mean, Grady, if Grady wanted to hurt Tom Brady, he would not have grabbed him around the waist.
Absolutely. 100%.
It's ridiculous. He had the opportunity.
Absolutely. And outside of the fact that Grady has mad respect for Tom Brady and the things that he has accomplished, he's just not that type of player.
Right.
He's not a type of player that's going to intentionally hurt you. I mean, he's just not that type. And whether it was intentional or not, he did the right thing. He did what his coaches said. The rules have changed. We talked about this, so he understood that he can't go and slam anybody.
You can't put your body weight on
Very
it. Yeah.
intentionally, followed the rules.
I agree with you that the flag was so late. It's like it happens, and then the ref is having a conference with Brady going,
Yes.
which you want me to throw
Yes.
a flag on this one?
Yes.
All right, let's do
Yes.
it. Throw in the flag.
Yes,
Like,
terrible.
That was
Terrible.
awful.
Terrible.
Awful.
Terrible.
Awful.
Terrible.
Awful. All right. So, listen, Inside the Shield, the show that you have on Brinks TV that you do with Rob
My
Vaka.
co-host. That's
Tell
right.
us what's
That's
coming
right.
up this season.
That's
on it.
right. Oh my God, we have some amazing moms. Of course, it's the mom gets to tell all about their sons, and who's best to tell their son stories besides the mom, right?
Yeah.
And so we have some amazing moms, from quarterbacks to quarterbacks.
Talking about
My
quarterbacks
son.
and sacks, who's going to be the first guest?
We have Robin Barrow, Joe Barrow's mom.
Oh, Burrow's mom.
Yes,
We're
amazing.
going quarterback out of the gate.
Absolutely, going quarterback out of the gate. So it's going to be exciting
gonna be
season.
fun.
So much fun. So much fun.
I cannot thank you enough, first of all, for being an amazing human being, an amazing role model. You taking the high road and just being calm, sitting next to the ref. The odds of that happening they're zero, not slim, zero. That's God testing everyone.
That is God testing everyone, and He truly tested me. Anybody that knows me knows that I'm a mama bear.
Yeah.
Anybody that knows
That's
me.
right.
And so for me to be able to sit there and be, as calm. Now, there's some things that went through my mind. I will be honest and say that. But again, I didn't have to say anything. And so thank you, people.
Thank you.
people.
I think in
didn't have to
closing
say-
that this should be Saturday Night Live should pick this up. What they should do is they should do a skit on an airplane with you as mom sacking the referee and swinging him around and seeing how gently you could lay him down on the Saturday Night Live set.
No, somebody else should have done it, and let me be the person with the flag.
There you go.
God. It's just unbelievable. The number of things that could have gone wrong in that moment. You just took the high road. Thank you so much for being an incredible
Absolutely.
human
All right,
being.
Momma Jarrett.
Absolutely.
I can't believe, first of all, I just can't believe that ref sat next to Momma Grady.
That's it.
Momma Grady.
He did.
There's
He
just
did.
no way.
He did.
No
He
way.
did. He did.
Unbelievable.
He did. I started to snap a picture.
I got you. Oh, my Lord. Well, thank you so much for being an amazing human being, an amazing mother.
Absolutely. Thank you all for all of your support. Thank you. And definitely keep Grady in your prayers, and hopefully we don't have to deal with this, or not only us, but the rest of the defensive guys too. And definitely, listen, don't get me wrong. I clearly understand, why rules have to change. I clearly understand that we don't play football the way that I'm used to playing football, or and I get it, respect it 100%. But my son tackled textbook and should have never been flagged for it. I want my sack back.
New T-shirt. I want my sack.
back. New T-shirt. Forget that. I want my sack back. I love that.
Rob, you're in charge.
Oh my God. All right. Give me a hug. I know you got to go. You dropped by the NIL house, though.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Never know who's going to stop by. That was a treat, and that was breaking news.
That was explosive breaking news. Exclusively here at the NIL house.
And y'all got to go to the Brinks TV app, or go to IWantMySackBack.com to get your t-shirt. You want the t-shirt, I Want My Sack Back. We all need to show some love, not only to Grady Jarrett, but Momma Jarrett, right? We got to show some love.
And to defenders everywhere. I mean, defenders are under attack.
They are. Defenders are under attack in the NFL, and we got to do something about it. In our t-shirt campaign, I Want My Sack Back, is just the beginning. It's just the beginning. Greatest t-shirt slogan of all time.
It is the greatest t-shirt of all time.
All right, so you got the hot deals in NIL.
I do.
What do you got?
Today, I picked the NIL deals. So it's stuff that I like.
Yeah, that's right.
So we're going to go with leather,
Okay.
roughing the passer,
Roughing the passer.
and lettuce.
Lettuce.
Leather, lettuce, and roughing the passer. So let's start out.
You couldn't figure out the full alliteration.
I couldn't, but we're going to roll right into it. So let's go to Texas.
right.
Let's go to Austin.
All right, let's go to
Quinn
Austin.
Ewers, he is a well-known quarterback, had a massive win this past week in the big Red River rivalry game, beat Oklahoma 49-0, and you know what he's doing?
What?
He's gifting his offensive linemen
Yeah?
custom leather bags.
Custom leather bags?
Custom leather bags. So here you go.
Quinn
Ewers.
Ewers? Oh, no way!
Lucchese is serious leather goods.
Wait a minute.
I want a bag.
Those are
Here are
like
the bags. Look at the
Texas-
bags.
Like, listen, that's born and bred in Texas product.
I mean, let's look at these bags.
Yeah.
These are serious bags, folks.
Zoom into that.
And these are offensive linemen, and usually in the NFL, right, you hear about a quarterback taking care of his offensive lineman because he's got some coin.
Sure.
Here, Quinn is taking his NIL deal and he's spreading the love.
I love it. First, why can't we get those?
We need those. They should say the NIL house. Maybe they come packed with Reese's and onions.
Yes. I mean,
Maybe.
before you know it,
Just
we are
maybe.
going to have the ultimate gift bag, the NIL house gift bag.
Oh, here's what I love. Read the tweet. Let's read the tweet.
Read it. Go ahead.
Texas tough since 1883. That is a Texas tough tweet.
That is wow, Texas tough.
There's Texas toast, there's Ford tough, and then there's Texas tough.
That's right. Well, that's a pretty good deal. And no dollar amount was assigned. It's just kind of free goods.
All right, next up,
What's up?
let's talk about getting her sack back. Let's get Momma Jarrett her sack back. And one way we may get it back, Tom Brady's now in the NIL business.
What?
Tom is in the NIL business. He has signed Lil Dion. He has signed primetime son, Shadur Sanders, to become the first face of his apparel brand. And that's some swaggy stuff. I kind of like I kind of like the jacket. Let's see if we can get on it. Look at that. That's pretty
Hold on
swaggy.
a second. Wait, is this the first deal that Deion's son has gotten?
No, but it is the first deal that Tom Brady's doing in the NIL space. So Tom,
Right.
of sack fame,
Yeah.
is now in the NIL business.
I would have thought that Tom Brady would have done a deal with a volleyball player. Oh, too soon? Is it too soon for that? Oh my God.
All right.
Woo!
All right. Let's move on from Tom Brady and Shedeur Sanders, and let's get to salad.
Salad.
I love salad.
All right, let's go. Salad.
And that's Sweet Green. So Sweet Green's got a good product.
They do.
I like a good salad. You put it together, you walk in, the place is clean, you get to pick your stuff. Sweet Green just did a deal with TCU athletes.
Ooh.
And so back to Texas, it seems to be happening in
It's
Texas.
happening in Texas. Go full screen. Go show Rob's computer. And look at this. Sweet Green enters the NIL space. And what's the deal?
So they did a deal with Micah Peavy, Maddie Cole, and Jill Johnson. Micah's a basketball player, Maddie is a volleyball player, and Jill is a high jumper. And they're posting on Instagram, and they're propping up Sweet Green, and they're eating at Sweet Green. And Sweet Green is going to be going to the Big Ten. They're opening their first store in Indiana shortly. So last week it was onions. This week it's lettuce.
And what are there any dollar amounts attached to it?
Just a lot of salad.
Just a lot of
A
salad.
lot of salad. Some people call it coin. Some people call it green. This is greens, plural, right?
Kind of getting the play
You
up.
see where we're going?
But I want to know what's the big deal. It's with TCU. What are they doing? Giving away free salad? I mean,
No, I like salad, so I picked it.
it feels a little self-serving
It
as
is.
opposed to breaking news.
It is. Does it matter whether
Yes,
green or
I'm just-
greens were involved in it?
I'm just saying that other than the TCU players and you,
I'm
How
a
interesting that
50-50 co-host in this, and I can pick my green deals.
all right, fine. All right. In other news, Rob, did you eat salad today?
Not yet. The day is young.
Days young. All right. All right. We're off of our hot deals, and now we need to move on to our opportunity of a lifetime. Now, listen. This. Hey, let's do big graphic card here. Opportunity of a lifetime. Now, Rob, Vaka, the NIL space, a lot of people are seeing the big players. I mean, we saw Reese's making a huge deal, and we know all the, big Fortune 500 companies are making deals, and there are smaller companies like Saks who did the underwear
Yes.
deal, and Reese's. But there are some products out there that are lesser known, that
Emerging products.
emerging, that just like the George Foreman grill.
Sure.
Remember? I mean, nobody knew
Sure.
what that grill was till George Foreman became part of it. There are some products that could really benefit from the right spokesperson. And this company contacted us, the NIL House. They wanted us to play their product and see if we could find an athlete who would be a perfect match for this product. So let's go ahead and roll the commercial.
Does the
Let's see.
shoulder strap of your car cut into
Look at
your
that.
shoulder?
Now, it's obviously
Is your
somebody who's
shoulder
gonna be
strap
into
too tight
cars.
and annoying?
Don't you hate
Introducing
that,
the
dude? I
Teddy
mean,
Bear.
like,
It's hard.
The
The
teddy
guy that
bear!
eliminates
Look
all
at the
those
teddy
problems.
bear!
Designed to make
It is
driving
cute.
more comfortable.
It's-
The Teddy
it's
Bear
orange.
snaps onto your
It's
shoulder
on
strap and
point
moves
on the
up
color
and
scheme,
down to
on
remove
brand.
the pressure
Huh?
wherever you need it.
My shoulder strap used to pull so tight I could hardly breathe. Now
Is this
it's
machine
there,
washable?
I really enjoy traveling again.
The patent-pending design
Look
swivels
at-
to work from either the
It's a
driver's
swivels.
side or passenger
Patent-pending
seat
design.
and fits all makes and models.
My wife
And
used to always complain about the pressure from her shoulder.
I'll tell you what, on date night,
And the teddy bear worked so great, he got one for himself too.
Call and
it
order
said
your
she
teddy
used to
bear
complain
right now.
about how tight her shoulder strap was. And now he liked it so much, he got himself one. So we need to think of the perfect athlete to represent Teddy Bear. They contacted us out of nowhere, and they said the NIL House is the place to match this up.
after the show, I suggest we go right into the lab. We have a 90-minute brainstorming session, and I bet we can find the perfect athlete for the titty bear tied to the NIL house.
That's right. Listen, I am all for we should contact Icon Source or any of the other platforms and see where there may be a match. But any suggestions, send it to info@thenilhouse.com.
Amen.
Who's the perfect athlete for the titty bear? I don't know. All right. So you know what it's time for?
Another guest?
Another guest. Another guest. Wow. Rolling right along, Rob Vaka. The NIL house is all about featuring not only the top athletes of all time, but the current athletes who are making a difference. Who are our next guests?
We got a dynamic duo, and they're all set in orange and purple. And I gotta make a disclaimer before we get going.
Yes.
We have Beau Collins and KJ Henry from Clemson with us today. The guys are rock stars. My disclaimer is that I have a kid at Clemson. My daughter Alexis is a sophomore at Clemson.
Right.
I've been to All In Coffee Shop plenty of times. I love it. I love what Paul Journey's about. I love what Jeff Davis is doing, what Antoine McLean's doing.
Yep.
You know, we're tight with Grady Jarrett. So we got to disclaim that we have a predisposition with Clemson.
Well, that is a good enough disclaimer, but I will tell you that even though your daughter does go to Clemson, Clemson's still in the news for other reasons.
Oh, they are?
They are.
All right, well, let's roll.
Let's roll. Why don't you bring them on right now?
All right, come on, KJ. Come on, Beau.
KJ and Beau, let's go. There they are. What's up, guys?
What's going on?
Stop it. So tell me this. You guys are playing at Clemson. You're undefeated. What are we right now? Fifth?
Fifth.
We're like fifth right now. Things are looking good for playoffs. What's the atmosphere like on campus?
I ain't been on campus. You talk about the atmosphere on campus.
Man, just going around the few classes I do have on campus, everybody's excited, man, just to see us every week. They ask me personally a lot of questions about like how practice is going, things like that. So we have a lot of invested fans, man, for sure.
It's awesome. The atmosphere at a Clemson game is pretty unrivaled. I mean, it's up there with as good as anything in literally in the world of sports. So far in your experience at Clemson, what's been a moment that you feel really sticks out in your mind?
I'd say the last game versus NC State at home. I'm finishing up my fifth year here now, so played a lot of games in Death Valley. Been a part of a lot of games with this, Clemson fan base, but it was electric, man. Top 10 matchup. We got the light show going now. Just the fans were going crazy. It definitely was my favorite game I've played in, thus far. And but that week in and week out, it's just a great atmosphere. And it's just a once in a lifetime opportunity, as far as something to be a part of. So it's been great, man. It's been fun.
So you guys are in a special atmosphere at a special university and you're special dudes. I've been reading up on what you're doing. You got the Tiger Impact Fund. You guys are doing stuff with charity. Beau, you first. Tell us about your journey this season with NIL. I know you have the Collins Children's Home that you spent time in. I know that you care about causes. I know that you care about kids. Tell us about the NIL path that you're taking.
Oh, yeah. Just with the Tiger Impact, it's just an opportunity for us to better our community for real. And so far this season, I've made efforts to go out there, visit the children, things like that. Donate some money that I'm getting from that NIL back to the Collins Children's Home, and just opportunities like that we may not have gotten before this all came to be.
While we're on that theme, KJ, your dad just had a very serious surgery. I know that's weighed on your mind. I know that your NIL journey is playing into his recovery. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so with my dad, finishing up his kidney transplant, that's really what really became a success, to our family, was this NIL opportunity, allowing myself to use my platform to kind of raise awareness and raise money, for this entire process. So it's really been a blessing, to get the love and support from the Clemson community. to help my family out. And now it's just all a matter of helping other families who don't necessarily, get the exposure and the financial help. That's kind of where I'm leaning my focus towards now. My dad's in a great place, and like I said, we're really blessed, because that's not the opportunity that everybody gets when they're in need of a transplant. So that's what's been awesome. It's kind of now just getting to shift my focus, financially and, on the media platform to help Hope live and really give them, a chance to help some other families.
How can people find Help Hope Live while we're on that topic, and then John will pick up?
Yeah, so you can see it on the screen, Help Hope Live. You can go to them on Twitter or Instagram, just an organization who essentially is just spreading awareness to families who are in need of some type of transplant, whether it be, heart, lung, kidney. Those things are obviously not easy to come by. And what people don't really know is, the finances and everything, the medical bills and things like that. Those are the things that really, put families behind the 8 ball. So just always giving money and donations and spreading the word, for this great organization will always help them.
What's incredible is that NIL, just the ability to use your name, image, likeness to either get paid or raise money is now essentially a brand new thing. And you're at one of the highest profile programs in the world, and you're using your name, image, and likeness to not only raise money to help people in need, but also just to raise awareness. I have to tell you that a lot of people are cynical about NIL and that it's somehow going to corrupt college sports, but I think it's going to do the exact opposite. I think it's going to allow athletes to make money and to use their platform to raise money and awareness for people in need.
100%. I think, for anything that's new, you can always have a bad and a good, side to it. I think, being at Clemson, we see a lot of good, and, athletes like Beau and myself and a lot of our other teammates are really just trying to find the good in NIL. There's definitely some bad in it, there's no doubt about it, but there's a lot more good that can come out of this, as far as allowing, younger athletes to financially be more aware and help their families. And then also, like we said, just being able to open up, ability to give back.
It's interesting that you ended up prior to NIL being a thing. Now, if you go back to high school and kids are considering where they're going to go, do you think that the potential money an athlete can make from an NIL deal is going to push them to one university versus another? Or do you feel that they're still going to make their decision based on what's the best program overall?
Hopefully a lot of kids are still making the decision on, the school, the coaches, the environment that they're going to be in. Like here, I know Coach Sweeney stresses kids coming here just because they want to come to Clemson and not for NIL. So hopefully it doesn't turn into, kids making decisions based on all the money they get. But at the end of the day, you just got to still go and perform, and all that will come.
It's going to be really interesting, guys, because a year ago at this time, NIL was brand new. I think it passed at the end of July or beginning of July 1st, something like that. Fast forward a year later, I read today that last year, a year ago, the average NIL deal, the average player was doing a deal for a little over $1,000. Now it's over $3,000. I think it's going to keep growing. To that end, as it keeps growing, do you guys have sort of an NIL blueprint? I know for you, KJ, this is your last season at Clemson, but Beau, you're just kind of getting going, right? You got some more time. So do you guys have an NIL blueprint or plan?
For me right now, it's really just keeping the main thing. So, focusing on football, school, and things like that. And the deals that do come, just sitting down with my parents, talking it over with them as well. I have a marketing team that I work with Priority Sports, and we just try to minimize the distractions. So not taking all and every single deal that comes my way, but just the ones that I seem pretty interested in, we'll go with those.
How about you, KJ?
Yeah, same thing. Even though, I'm finishing up. When it first started a year ago, I was very slow to hop into it for the same reasons Beau spoke on. Football's a priority. And, the easy fact is if you're not doing anything on the field, nobody's going to want you to market their product, right? That's just common knowledge. So you gotta be committed to what you came here to do, and all that will come to fruition. So really having a good team, by your side as you become more and more known, throughout the collegiate world is a big deal. But the number one thing is just knowing why you came to college in the first place and not getting, those priorities mixed up. That's the biggest thing to remember as an athlete.
Both of you guys are such impressive young men and really have a great perspective on where you are. You're leaning into saying, look, if I'm not playing well on the field, nobody's going to want me to market my product. And while you're marketing a product, you're also raising awareness to do good. So doing your best at what it is that, what gifts you have that other people may not, is translating into giving gifts to people that hopefully everybody can have. Where do you feel you got this perspective? Because, a lot of people are sitting back going, man, I bet these kids are going to blow their money. But you guys are talking about commitment to the community and to really spread that positive energy. Where does that come from?
I can, easily speak for both of us. Beau being from Cali, I'm from North Carolina, but our families, our parents, we come from great influences and people who really have just done their best to, have us do right as far as our families and whatnot. So that's been the biggest thing. And then even when you come to Clemson, not everybody has that structure that we've been blessed with, but that's okay as well, because, you're going to be into a program that's going to help you with those things and help you with those tools and really allow you to understand, what's important. Like very few, maybe 1%, of athletes are going to get rich, off NIL deals in college, right? It's a blessing, to be able to make a little bit of money, but it's not going to, make a life-changing difference. And you really have to understand that. So just knowing where we've come from and, staying true to that is really what's helped us, and allowed us to help others.
I think you really hit on something very, very powerful that if you're not in the Clemson environment, you may not understand. I happen to know what the Paw journey is. I know what Jeff Davis has brought and Richard have brought. Tell us a little bit about that ingredient, because what both of you talked about was your families, and that's one powerful ingredient. The Clemson community and Coach Sweeney and the other coaches are another powerful ingredient. Tell us about Paw Journey and that ingredient, what that means to each of you.
So Paw Journey for me is just betting on yourself outside of football. So, a lot of kids come here just to play, thinking they're going to play football their whole life, but really that's not the case. And Paw Journey is just an outlet that allows you to understand and grow as a man more off of the field, and just give you opportunities that when you do put your cleats away and the football down, you'll know what to do and you won't basically go crazy. So it's just like a safe haven for us here. Sure.
100%. I think for myself, 5 years ago when I was, trying to decide what school I wanted to go to, there were a lot of great options on the field, but there weren't many who were really speaking to the growth and investment and development of us off the field. And Paw Journey has been that for us since I've been here. You can speak to the 100% job placement that we've had since it started, as far as just investing in the guys, because there's going to be way more guys who don't make it to the next level than guys that do, but everybody's just as important. So having that, arena that really focuses on, the person, the community involvement, us as leaders, and, us as far as in the business world, and allowing us to, grow in those endeavors, man, it's big. So it's been something I think that's just kind of been the secret sauce at Clemson. I really do believe Paw Journey is really what sets us apart from a lot of great programs in the country. And it's been a blessing, for the both of us, for sure.
Absolutely incredible. I have two really quick questions before we let you go. So KJ, you're in your 5th year. Perhaps the NFL is going to be calling, and who knows what's going to happen, right? You could just, have a super long, profitable career in the NFL. Beau, you obviously still have a little bit of a college journey ahead of you. If you were right now, if you have the stage to pitch yourself for some kind of NIL deal outside of sports, so it falls more into a hobby or something that you're interested in, what would that be?
For myself, I live on the lake and I love the lake. So anything that has to do with jet skiing and whatnot, wake surfing, that's my big thing. Being in Clemson, we have some beautiful lakes here, and I really do love getting out on the water.
KJ, I just saw John get a man crush, man. He's gonna try to hug you from where we're standing right now.
Dude, listen, the lake, I love lake life. I'm now into wake foiling. I've been doing wakeboarding, wake surfing. Now I'm into wake foiling. We got to go out on the lake because it is a total blast.
We are definitely going to connect. I'm telling you.
Beau, you and I could drive the boat.
being a bigger athlete and seeing some of these more fast and skillful guys, but they can't get up on a wakeboard is like one of the most pleasing things to me. I love it so much. So that's anything on the lake waters. I'm all in for it.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Now, Beau, what you got to pitch yourself to the world right now, something outside of football. So we're going to get KJ some kind of wake foil jet ski deal. What kind of deal do you want?
I'd probably have to lean back on, like, growing up, I would do a lot of drawing and, painting and things like that in school and even outside of school. So anything that has to do with like colored pencils, notepads, stuff like that for drawing.
Do you have a portfolio? Do you make sketches and drawings?
I would have to put one together for sure, but I don't have anything put together right now.
We're gonna get you to sketch KJ on the lake, getting up on the wake foil.
I want to see that, man. I want to. If you do that, if you could sketch something out, we'll put it into the show, and we're gonna contact everybody from like Crayola on up.
Sure. I love
awesome. Listen, you guys are awesome. KJ, I'm going to see you out on the lake. I'm telling you. Sure. As soon as this season, we're going to let the season wrap up, and then we're going to go wake foiling. It's awesome. And Beau, you're going to just sit there like an artist, drawing KJ ripping it up.
Sure. Awesome. Thank you guys so much.
All right. God bless you guys.
Godspeed this weekend.
Sure.
I will tell you what, Rob, those are some impressive young men.
As impressive as it gets.
As impressive as it gets.
I mean, not only does KJ wake surf,
right,
but he gives back.
Yeah.
He is very careful with his NIL approach. Yeah. And Beau, same thing, kid from LA, just has his act together. Just fun guys to be around. I hope we can get him out on the boat.
Absolutely. I have a feeling that they will be making a visit to the NIL house. And we're going to go wake surfing, wake foiling, and have a ton of fun. Moving on, last segment, Mascot of the Week. Who's our Mascot of the Week? Put the bumper up. Let's see. All right. Out of the millions of submissions.
Another massive pile to comb through.
That's right.
From submission land.
And look, here we go. Put it up full screen. We got it. Oh, Grady Jarrett. Dogs. I don't know how in the world we picked these dogs.
Those are beautiful dogs. We picked them because they're beautiful dogs.
They're beautiful dogs. And you want to know what their names are?
What are their names?
It doesn't matter because they are still pissed about that penalty.
Their names are, I'm still pissed about that penalty. They want their sack back.
That's right. They want their sack back, both of the dogs. These are beautiful king horses. And the Mascot of the Week on the NIL House is brought to you by Brutus Bone Broth. Make sure you go to brutusbroth.com. Brutusbroth.com. Nice and shiny. Provides them with all kinds of nutrients and rounds out their diet. Unlike anything else, yes, it's a plug, but they are part of the NIL house, and that's kind of what they do.
Those dogs right there, I can tell, they not only use Brutus bone broth, they eat onions, they sneak in a Reese's once in a while. Maybe they go to Sweet Green. Who knows?
And it's all hidden in a leather bag.
all about the leather bag. You need delivery.
I want the
You need
leather bag.
delivery of product, and that's how you do it.
What is the mechanism by which all of those products will be delivered? What's the name of the leather bag company again?
Lucchese.
Lucchese. Contact Megan. Get on the horn and contact Lucchese. Is that right?
Yes.
Lucchese. I love it. All right, that's gonna do it for us. Another great episode in the can, and next week
it's just going to keep getting better.
Just
keeps getting better.
bigger and better, bigger and better. Don't say it. I know what you want to say. God bless y'all.
Have a massive week, everybody.